Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to level up in your 20s. I am fast approaching 30. I will be 30 in July. I'm so excited. I feel like I've been waiting to get to 30 for my entire life. But in this video, I want to share some things that I learned in my 20s. And I want to encourage you guys to do some of these things whilst you're still in your 20s. So some of the things on my list are in no particular order. You prioritize whatever you want to prioritize. So let's get into it. One of the things that you should do whilst you're still in your 20s to level up your mind is to read books, listen to YouTube videos, go to seminars, go to conferences, and buy courses. Knowledge is power, and it's not a cliche. Everything that is a cliche, don't just say, oh, that's a cliche. Actually do it and actually believe it, because knowledge truly is power. But even better than that, knowledge applied brings success. So a lot of people always ask me to recommend some books, which I will do in this video. But one of the books that I highly recommend time and time again and listen to time and time again is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book is phenomenal, way ahead of its time, so relevant to me as I'm approaching 30, as my mindset is more to build wealth, to buy assets. You know, some business books are just so much jargon that you never ever get to understand what the actual point is. In Rich Dad Poor Dad, he breaks it down for dummies. Literally, he talks about owning real estate, owning assets, the difference between assets, liabilities, buying stocks, bonds, and in contrast the difference between the poor and the rich. And the poor are not necessarily poor as we would think poor, but they're poor mentally, they're poor financially with money. And it's a poor mindset that keeps people in a cycle of not having enough, basically. So that's a book I highly recommend, but I'll list a lot more in my description box below, so check that out. But get your knowledge up in your 20s. It's the perfect time to start. Don't wait. Don't say, oh, I've got to be older to understand this. I send books, I send recommendations to my niece who is 18 years old. Whether she listens to it or applies, only time will tell. Right, how to level up in your 20s. Number 2, learn a new skill and monetize it. So if you're looking for a place to learn new skills like that, you need to check out SKILLSHARE. SKILLSHARE is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, develop existing interests, and get lost in the world of creativity. So SKILLSHARE have an amazing list of courses in different niches, or niches as my Americans will say: animation, creative writing, fine art, graphic design, business analytics, marketing, lifestyle, and productivity. Pick one of those things and challenge yourself to learn a new skill this year. So every month I try a new course. The first one I did was how to create a podcast, and I created a podcast. The second one was creative writing, learning how to write, and I'm actually learning so much from that. And the third one that I've moved on to is by Cindy Merez Fulton, and it's branding for entrepreneurs.
You don't have to be a branding wizard to build a brand. You just have to know the story that you want to create, and the rest will just fall into place. Hi, I'm Cindy Ramirez Fulton, founder and CEO of Chill House, and today's class is about building a brand in the Instagram era.
So if you want to become an influencer, this is one of the courses that you should definitely take. And the best thing about it is the first 1,000 people to click the link in my description box will get a free trial of SKILLSHARE premium membership. And after that, it's only about $10 a month. So do yourself a favor, pause this video and check the link in my description box, sign up, and come right back. So thank you to SKILLSHARE for sponsoring today's video. I appreciate it. Next on my list of how to level up in your 20s is to search for your passion. And when I say search for your passion, I mean throw as many arrows as you can and wait to see which one sticks. And one of the mistakes that I made in my 20s was thinking that I had to figure it out straight away. There were so many things that I wanted to be in my 20s. I just thought I had to pick one thing. I wanted to be a model. I wanted to be a designer. I wanted to do blogging. I wanted to do photography. I wanted to do so much things. And thankfully, I'm now in a career that does all of those things combined. But in my early 20s, I felt like I had to pick one thing, and it stressed me out. So a lot of people in their 20s feel like they have to know what they want to do straight away. I mean, it's good if you do know what you want to do straight away, but don't be afraid to do a lot of different things. Find your passion that way. The next thing I would say is to seek God for your purpose. Passion is great, okay? Talent is great. Giftings are great. But your purpose is the reason why you do those things. And for the longest time, especially in my 20s, I sought God, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I want to know what my purpose is. What am I supposed to be doing here? And it was a long time until I really got an answer, and God really showed me my purpose in life is to raise women's self-esteem. That was my purpose. I have to make sure that why is present in everything that I do, okay? Raising women's self-esteem, teaching people confidence. That's my purpose. The earlier that you seek, the better off that you will be. The next thing that I would recommend is to create a routine. Routines form your habits. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a very structural thinker. I like to think systematically. I like to think in order. And if you can create a solid routine in your younger years, you will set yourself up for success in the future, because routines create consistency, and consistency creates trust. And when you have a system that works, you have more faith, as opposed to just waking up anytime, doing whatever you want at any time, having no real plans and no real strategy for your life. You're going to wake up and you're going to be 20 years in the future, and you're going to wish that you actually made some solid plans. You created some routines that you live by, created some habits that create success. The next thing that I will suggest is, and it might be controversial and some people may disagree, but it is live at home as long as possible. Save up so that you can invest in an asset and not a liability. And this is not everyone, okay? But a lot of people are so quick to move out because they feel like they can't have independence unless they're outside of their house. But a lot of people are making bad financial decisions because they're not ready financially to move out. And just because you're renting somewhere does not mean that you're making smart decisions. Living at my mum's house in my 20s has been the best investment. Of course, I pay my way in rent, but it's nowhere near as much if I was to have my own place. And I get it, we want our own space, we want to buy IKEA furniture, we want to dress it up, we want to have our own little sanctuary. But wisdom says wait and save. Unless you have a toxic parent or you don't get on with the people inside of your house, well, make an exit plan. This doesn't apply to everybody, but if you have it good, why ruin it? If it's not broke, don't fix it. And you can still have independence whilst living in your parents' house. The next thing I would say is don't mess up your credit. If I swore, I would say don't F up your credit, okay? Don't pay your phone bill late. Don't pay your car note late. Don't F up your credit. Your credit is what's going to set you up in your future. You can't do anything in this life with bad credit, okay? You can't get ahead, you can't succeed, you can't even buy a house, you can't even buy a new mobile phone with bad credit, let alone a car or a house. So don't mess up your credit. Don't buy stuff that you don't need. In my late teens, my early 20s, I was a big time hoarder. I bought so much stuff. I spent my student loans on stuff that I can't even tangibly pick up and say, this is what I invested £27,000 in, okay? Don't waste money. Learn to save, learn to invest. And it's not how much you make. Just because you're earning 3-4k a month does not mean you should spend 3-4k a month. And a lot of people spend faster than they make. And if you always seem to have more month left after your paycheck, you are doing something very wrong. And also, let me mention this point as well. Designer items are great, okay? But they are not necessary. I did not own a luxury handbag until I was about 27. And that was more so a gift to myself that I could afford. And you know how the saying goes, if you can't buy it 3 times, you cannot afford it. Just because you have money there does not mean you should spend it, and does not mean you can afford to buy that. Honestly, when you wait to splurge and you actually buy something that you genuinely like, not just something that is trendy, you will appreciate it so much more. And you don't have to have 5 of these things. You can just have 1. So don't get caught up in these Instagram lifestyles and influencers who buy luxury items and can pay for those luxury items by you watching their videos. For some influencers, making an unboxing video can pay for 3 of the bags that they showed in that video. So don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Be wise. Practice delayed gratification. I promise you, it feels so much better when you know that you worked for it and you can afford it than when you know that you're going to be eating rice and beans just to get that Chanel bag. The next thing I will say is to learn what investments are. You are never too young to learn about investing. Understand investments, understand stocks, understand bonds, invest in things that are assets and not liabilities. An asset is something that makes you more money after you've bought it. A liability is something that costs you money and costs you to keep it. You don't want to be losing money. You don't want to be throwing money money away. Yes, enjoy yourself, but do not splurge. That is not wise. Which brings me to my next point. Stay in your freaking lane. Find a lane and stay in it. On top of that, mind the business that pays you. Learn to be yourself and be yourself fully. Do not waste your life trying to be like everyone else. Get to know yourself and invest in becoming the best version of yourself. That's how you combat comparison. Invest in becoming the best version of yourself, because you got one life, you got one body, you got one face, and you got one brain. And your power comes from being you. Your power does not come from trying to be someone else. When I go on Instagram, it hurts my soul to see people trying to look like Kylie Jenner or Kim Kardashian, and not just look like, be them. It's such a waste of a precious life. Don't do that. But the best investment that you'll ever make is to invest in yourself. So my soul surgery masterclass is coming up real soon. So if you haven't subscribed to the waiting list, please subscribe by checking out the link in my description box. I'm going to teach you guys to level up from the ground up. How to level up in your 20s. Learn to love yourself healthily. That's all I'm going to say. This is what my channel's about. You've heard me say it time and time again. Love yourself. You can't love yourself, no one is going to love you. Invest in loving yourself. The next thing I will say is do something that scares you once a year. When you are in your 20s, you are risk adverse. You are more likely to risk in your 20s than in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Do you know why? Because as you get older, you accumulate more things and you have more to lose. When you're in your 20s, and especially when you don't have much, take risk. Do something that scares you. But what if I fail? Okay, but what if you win? Have that positive, glasses half full mindset in everything that you do. You can't fail. Even failure is a lesson, and you can't let fear stop you. And I was watching Girlfriends the other day, and this is going to be my new motto.
Don't let fear make you its bitch.
The next thing you should do whilst you're still in your 20s is learn to ask. Have you guys seen that I'm still trying to get my ask right? I always say ask. You know, when someone's a habit, honestly, it's so hard to break. But learn how to ask. Be bold. The Bible says you have not because you ask not. Most people don't get what they want in life because they're too scared to ask for it. What is the worst that can happen? They can say no. Well, when they say no worries. And one of the things that I learned from Kris Jenner is that if you ask someone and they say no, it means you're asking the wrong person. The next thing I will say, how to level up in your 20s, is to find your tribe. These are your group of friends that are gonna ride with you until the end. So don't be so quick to cut people off. Learn how to work through things. Sometimes you're the toxic one. Let that settle in. Take positive feedback and use it to improve yourself, to become a better friend, to become a better person. And I always say this, but if you can maintain great friendships, you'll be able to maintain a great romantic relationship, because it's the same fiber it takes. It's the same commitment, loyalty, courage. It's the same ingredients it takes to run a successful relationship. And these are the people that are going to be your bridesmaids. These are the people that you're going to do life with. No one is an island. We need each other. Don't let social media fool you. We need each other, and we need real life friends, because people on social media are not your friends, darling. They're your followers. They're your acquaintances. They're your associates. They're not your friends. Your friends see the real you. They know the real you, and they will show you who you are, which is why a lot of people don't even want friendships anymore. It's too much hassle for them. But don't get me wrong, if there's someone that's draining you, and no matter how much you try to help them, no matter how much advice you give them, and they're just like a leech or they're draining you, feel free to cut that off. You don't need that. Next, become a female asset. Learn to cook. Learn to drive. Learn how to manage your money. You've got to become, I said become, okay? Not be, become. It's a process. You've got to learn to become independent, because you're going to need it when you're single, and you're going to need it when you're married. Become a female asset. Next, how to level up in your 20s. Travel at least once a year. It will open your mind. Some people have never left their country, and so their mind is this small, but they think their mind is this big. They think that they know, they figured out life. You haven't figured out life until you've seen different cultures. You've spoken to different people of different cultures, different faiths, different religions, different social status. You have not seen the world until you've seen countries. I hear what you're saying. I can't afford it. If you've got a job, you can afford it. You should never say, I can't afford it. You should say, how can I afford it? What do you need to do in order to be able to travel at least once a year? How do you need to manage your money to be able to travel once a year. And like I said, if you've got a job, you can afford it. You just have to learn to manage your money and save up. One of my favorite things to do when the country wasn't on lockdown was to take weekend breaks. So I'll go from Friday to Monday. So if you've got a 9 to 5 job, you may need to be back on Monday. You may miss Monday, but it will be worth it. I'm sure your boss won't mind. I'm sure you have some holidays to use up. One Monday won't hurt you. The next thing to do whilst you are in your 20s is to get in shape, because trust me, the older you get, the harder it becomes to lose that stubborn fat. Okay, get in shape so you can stay in shape, that when you get pregnant you can snap back super fast. That's my plan. I plan to be at my best ever shape before I get pregnant so that I don't spread out, because I know if I continue on at this size I will just spread out when I'm pregnant, and I don't want to do that. Okay, no offense, but it's not my goal in life. It's not my passion. Okay, but the earlier you start losing weight, or the earlier you get in shape and you stay in shape, is the better your life will be. You won't have to stress about it. It'll become a habit. It'll become a routine. I've been in the gym pretty much half of my life, like just trying to get to that weight, and the goal has moved every year, but we move, and I know I need to do it. And I'm on a diet now. I'm starting a new program on Monday. I need to get that body. I need to get that body for my 30th. Okay, period. The next thing I will say is to skip the hoe phase. You don't need it. You do not need to be a hoe. And I understand it. I get it. I get the appeal. You don't want to be in a serious relationship, or you don't have any prospects of being in a serious relationship, and therefore instead of being single you just stay in the middle and you just play games. I want to make a whole video on this. Let me know if you want this, because you really don't have to go through the hoe phase. You can avoid a lot of heartbreak, a lot of pain, not to mention soul ties, not to mention bodies. You can save yourself a lot. Okay, and I'm not against dating in your 20s. Date, just don't sleep with them. Date around. Okay, get to know new people, but don't sleep with them. You don't need a hoe phase. Okay, don't think that you're in control either. You're not in control. You're being used as well. Use your 20s to get in the mindset of a wife, a mindset of a serious candidate, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm too young. You're never too young to get married. And don't let the media fool you that, oh, getting married is for older people. No, it saves you a lot of time. Trust me. If I could go back, I'll get married in my 20s. If I could meet my partner in my 20s, I would have done that. I didn't need to be single for that length of time that I was single. But hey, God has other plans. And a lot of people think that you can't be in a relationship and have a successful career or go to school. They feel like you have to sacrifice your relationship for your school or your education or your work. And you really don't have to. You can have both. But use your 20s to grow with somebody. You want to be open to the idea of love even in your 20s. Okay, be open to the idea of it, but at the same time choose wisely. We're not just being in relationships for being in relationships' sake. We're actually being in relationships to actually grow and to go the full 9 yards with it. You have a head start when you're in your 20s. Do your interviews, choose wisely, and don't be afraid to love. Okay, how to level up in your 20s. Listen to Breeny. Listen to Auntie Breeny. Okay, I'm getting a title of Auntie Breeny now. Gonna get to my 30s soon. Yeah. Listen to Auntie Breeny. Therapy sis. Therapy. And you may think therapy are just for people that are messed up or crazy, but it's not. Therapy is so that you don't become crazy. You all need someone to talk to. We all need somebody to check us. Okay, you got a broken arm, your arm's hurting, or you go to the dentist. What do? You get a checkup. We all need therapists for a checkup. And so if you're looking for a therapist online, check out BetterHelp and check out the link in my description box. I've linked you guys to a host of therapists that you can choose from if you're looking for therapy online. So the second from last thing to do whilst you are in your 20s is to make sure you spend time with your loved ones, your family, because you'll never get that time back, and nothing is worse than regret. For me, it's family over everything, and I will share a quick story of when I really came to this conclusion. It was Easter, and one of my friends invited me to his Ghanaian wedding. So a Ghanaian wedding typically takes place in a house. It wasn't anything special, but it was Easter, and I decided to go because I was invited, but my granddad had been sick for some time. And that Easter, all the family came together, the little babies, the young ones, the older ones, the aunties, the uncles, everybody was there. And everybody spent their last day with him. And I was the only person that was missing. And 2 days after, he passed away. I will always hold on to that Like, I'm annoyed. I'm very annoyed that I wasted my time at that wedding. No offense. I don't even speak to the person anymore. And I didn't get to see my granddad with everybody else. So family over everything is my motto. And so I would encourage you guys to spend as much time with your family as you do your friends. I know when you're in your 20s, you don't even want to be around family. You're like, oh, I'm growing up now. I'm an adult now. As you are growing, your family are growing older. And most of your family are closer to death than you are. So don't live with regrets, because you never know what can happen. These last 2 years have shown that. And lastly, probably the most important of the whole video, how to level up in your 20s. Give your life to Christ and don't wait. Don't say, I'm gonna wait until I'm older to live right. I'm gonna wait until I'm such and such. Life is not promised. You're not promised tomorrow. And one of the best decisions I ever made to kickstart my life was when I was 16. I gave my life to Christ. I accepted Jesus into my heart, into my life. I believed on him. I believed that he's a savior. I prayed and I asked for forgiveness, and he welcomed me into his home, and he gave me eternal life. I used to have a fear of death, but now I can live confidently knowing that I can live my best life here with peace in my heart, and then die, sleep, and wake up in eternity to an even better life. That's goals to me. Don't delay. A lot of people say, I'll get right when I'm older. You don't know when you will die. We all have an invisible expiration date, and you don't want to wait until it's too late. Give your life to Christ. Christ came to save us from ourselves, from our sin, and from eternal damnation, eternal judgment. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed making it. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel. Can you believe yesterday I checked my channel? Half people that watch my channel are subscribed, half people that watch my channel are not. How dare you? Hit the subscribe button, join the gang, join the family. Let's get to 500k. I'm gonna keep on putting that content. You're gonna see more of me, but please subscribe. That would mean so much to me. I love hitting milestones. So yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Make sure you guys comment below if you're in your 20s, what tips you're taking away, any tips that you will add to what I've listed. All right guys, see you in my next video. Bye guys.